Coming back to ground zero in Nairobi at the Parliament buildings where Alex Mwangi is our man on the ground. Alex, what's the mood like on the ground?
Yes, Julian. So the situation here is that it's just business as usual. The streets are open to traffic as usual, and it's not pretty much the usual Nairobi traffic activity that we are used to, because still some people are staying at home and others are coming. But on matters budget and Julians, we are looking at this recovery budget, which is also can be termed as a pandemic budget, because it so happens that it is happening at a time of a pandemic. And we know that as Ukur Yatani reads the budget this afternoon, it will be a historic budget in that unique respect of the pandemic. And one thing that we are going to be looking forward this afternoon is to find out to what extent the budget will slant towards propping up the economy in order to boost sectors that have been hit hard. And we have particularly, for example, the aviation sector and the tourism sectors that have taken a particularly hard hit from this pandemic. But as we also know, it is a global phenomenon, and economists and economies around the world are struggling to grapple with the pandemic. And we know something else that is interesting about pandemic times. It's that policymakers are in a position where they don't really know where this is headed to, because it's unprecedented. And when we talk of the last pandemic that it has been compared to back in 1918, the flu pandemic, back then we didn't have as advanced economies as we have this time around. So we are looking forward to what Ukur Yatani is going to say. And just to mention that part of the budget will be interesting, because as far as revenue collection is concerned, because Julians, we know that from the Treasury and the government that 216 billion shillings has been realized or injected into the economy through tax refunds, rebates, and waivers. And so, if the government has not received some certain tax revenue because of the money that it is injecting into the economy because of reducing tax, maybe some tax rates, then we wonder where the government will hence get the additional revenue to bolster its budget. Another thing that we are looking forward to is to find out how big that budget will be in as far as comparisons with other budgets in previous times. And we know that the government has in the past decade or so been increasing the amount of the budget, and it has been increasing at a level, some say that it has been increasing at a level that is maybe a bit higher than the economic growth rate. So we are waiting to see whether Ukur Yatani is going to rationalize some of the figures, because we do expect that the tax revenues in the coming financial year will be much reduced. And so we are waiting to see how Ukur Yatani is going to play with the figures, how he's going to balance his budget. And it is a much anticipated budget, given that it is happening during this time of the pandemic. And I'll be here this afternoon as well, even as the CS reads the budget, to give you more information and more insights in as far as the feedback from that budget is concerned. Back to you, Julians.